What are we jamming on now before we discuss Michael Jackson? What are you jamming on now, Jay?
Josh, I have to tell you, since the last time we recorded, it has just been a retro video game heyday over here through Game Pass. Dude, okay, so first and foremost, what we have to talk about is Pac-Man Museum Plus. You see it behind me. This is my arcade. If you ever, if you're like me and you grew up in the 80s and you started with Pac-Man, have any affinity for Pac-Man, you will absolutely love this game. And we talked before how when my parents came to visit before, I found an old Pac-Man, through the Xbox game store and just bought it for like a couple bucks. Had fun with the parents, great time, no big deal, because I was just original Pac-Man, no nothing fancy. This game, when I heard that this game was coming to Game Pass, I kind of just assumed, all right, it's going to be Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, and Junior Pac-Man, which is one of my favorites, and then like Pac-Mania, hopefully that was on the NES, because I'm like, oh, I hope I can't wait to play it. This is so much more than that. I can't even like. First of all, it doesn't have any of the other Pac characters in terms of playable, so it does not have Miss Pac-Man or Junior Pac-Man. So I was kind of bummed, but it
Are
has
you
like
sure?
I'm 100% sure. 100% sure. It has like 13 other games
Possible.
starting with the original one. But like games I've never heard of or played before, some that I've seen, including Pac-Mania, which I loved. And they are all so different and also amazing. And I'm not even talking about Pac-Man was like my favorite game. Like, yes, it was like one of the first games I ever played. So like I have that, nostalgia, respect for it. But like I'm not pining away to play Pac-Man. However, these other versions make me want to play it, and I played it so much.
A lot going
Yeah.
on in that picture there.
All right. So part of the exciting thing about this is that it has Animal Crossing vibes to it, where you have your arcade, like you have basically a very basic plain arcade, and you can play all of these games, all of these various different Pac-Man games that have been released from 1970s through 2015, and once you actually play the games and unlock things and do better and get better scores and kind of like 100% some games, you unlock different cabinet features, different wallpapers, different characters start coming to visit your arcade. So it's you by yourself, and then like different characters like come, so now they're like walking around your arcade, and you get to like decorate and change it. And so I'm not, me, I'm not one of those people who's like big on decorating and things within games, but like I found myself like, oh, I locked that character, sweet, like I can't wait, I need another pack in time like cabinet, let me add that, just so it's like it's like the game within the game, and then when you walk up to each cabinet, like it actually shows you the games that are on that cabinet, like actual screenshots as you're walking by. So it's really well done. Several of these newer versions of Pac-Man are multiplayer. So like I've played with the kids, they're like 4 player. There's like a battle royale version that was released in 2011 that you can play at like your local Dave and Buster's or GameWorks or something. That one's in here. There's like a Pack in Time where it's like a full-on story, like an RPG. They're just such different versions. There's Pac-Man 256, which was released in 2015. That's a up to 4 player one with like all these different skins, and like
I
I
think I've
play that
played
with
the
the
four-player
kids.
one. I think they have that at the barcade on 27th
Yeah, so
in New
fun.
York.
Like
Yeah.
we're sucked in. Like I find myself finding more games, like just more love for it every time I find some little nuance that I didn't know about before.
I know it would be a licensing nightmare, but maybe like an Atari or someone Midway, someone like that who has like a really a good roster in house already of classic arcade games. But doing this with like, I mean, this build your own arcade thing with multiple IPs, I guess, would
Dude.
be
Oh,
nostalgia orgasm. I'm sure.
are you kidding me? Like to do this with just like a bunch of imagine an all NES or an all Atari or like some kind of thing that you know, yeah, I'm sucked in. Like I said, I unlocked new wallpaper yesterday, and I was like, oh, I gotta switch it up now. Like some new characters came. Yeah, it just like there's a jukebox, obviously, so you're unlocking different tracks from the games you like. So it has like the Pac-Mania that I
That's
like,
cool too. Yeah.
but then it has like some weird old versions of games like Pack and Pal from 1983. I'm like, what is this? This is very, very quirky and different, but also I can understand why people like it. And it just I cannot believe I like it so much. There's like a game called Pack and Roll that's almost like Sonic, where you're like a ball. Like,
Well,
I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I've never, I've played Miss Pac-Man. I played obviously regular Pac-Man. I I don't think I've played any other than that four-player one, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
That's newer. I don't think I've played any arcade versions. I think I
Oh,
dabbled with that one Pac-Man on NES, and I didn't honestly care for it that much. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it would be a discovery and a half, a discovery flowchart and a half to fuck with that.
I highly recommend. Like, even within each of the cabinets, it has like a game guide and a history section. So it tells you like released in this
Yeah,
year based
yeah.
on this part, with these variations. So you get to really understand more
Honestly,
about
yeah, yeah,
the appreciation of that.
my dumb ass would enjoy the fuck out of
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. Get up on it. Um, yes. So second up on the retro mania hype train for the last month, TMNT Shredder's Revenge. You knew we were going to talk about it. You knew we were going to talk about it. Have you not seen it? If you have any kind of social media, you should know by now the game is absolute pure fire.
Up
Fire.
to
I played it
six
all the
players,
way.
right?
What's that?
Up to six players simultaneously.
Yeah, dude, it's
That's
great.
bonkers. That's
It's
bonkers.
great. I played it, and the technology is so good that, like, sometimes when you play multiplayer, it's either you play either co-op at home or online, not both. With this, it's
I
both.
heard this. Yeah,
Like,
like you do both. Yeah.
dude, I played it all the way through with the kids, and I played it all the way through with Jesse and the kids. So Jesse's out in Philly, he's playing online with us. We're chatting while I'm playing with the kids, couch co-op. You play it through, you unlock different characters. So like you start with obviously the Turtles, Splinter, and April is a playable character. But then you beat the game
It's
and another
remarkable
player.
that that's such a
Dude,
new thing that that you
dude,
can that or such an uncommon thing, I
I
guess.
I don't know, but
Seems like the
but for
most
this
basic
game, it
of.
works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the right game to, like, we made it work, to display that.
That's awesome. Yeah,
But
I
if
haven't
you
played it
haven't,
yet, but it looks
oh,
good. I know it's beat 'em ups, man. It's just fucking button jamming. I would play
no,
it though.
I mean,
It's just a matter of it not being accessible.
I would say honestly, I loved the arcade ones back in the day, all the, 2 through 4 on the Nintendo, Super Nintendo. But I think this one is better because clearly the technology allows for more. So there's more. Each turtle has more moves. They level up this time, so they get even more moves and can be more powerful. So even if you like a certain turtle for whatever reason, like, hey, I like Leonardo because I like swords. Um, Once he levels
Or
up,
because he's the more boring turtle, whatever your
or that
reason
too,
is.
or that too. Just as an example, I'm not saying he's my favorite. I'm just saying. Um, but like, even if you like that, you might actually like playing with um, Master Splinter or Donatello more leveled up because their special moves are fire and they like wipe everybody out. You know what I mean? So it's
Does
it's
Donatello
like the
build? Does
classics plus
Donatello
more.
build a contraption of some kind? Does he build something?
No, he does not build something. He
Oh, that
just,
sucks.
I mean, that bow staff is badass. I mean, you'll just see. You just gotta play and see. I'm not gonna spoil it. You gotta experience it, man.
Hmm. Fair, fair, fair. I appreciate that. Thank you for not ruining my experience.
Yeah. And then you unlock at the end if you haven't already been spoiled with that. It's really cool. Go play it right now. If you ever like Ninja Turtles, go play it. Game Pass, both of them.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything of any negative.
And you won't.
Yeah.
You won't. There's no reason. It won't happen. I defy you to find somebody saying something negative about it, unless they're like nitpicking, and then it's like, okay, fine. There's one a-hole out there to do that.
Yeah. Oh, they exist for sure. There's
Yeah.
probably uh, a whole Reddit subreddit just for that, just for people nitpicking at the new Turtles game.
For the 10 people out of the millions who love it. Yeah, I mean, those two games honestly have taken most of my time. Next up, I actually, surprisingly, I think it was because there was a perk out on Game Pass where you could get like some new skins. I was just kind of bored, and I was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh," I downloaded it. So I jumped back into Avengers, Marvel's Avengers, and I didn't know you know, it's a game that Courtney and I were both playing together. We played very far through it, and I couldn't remember how close we were to finishing it, but like I basically jumped in and finished the main campaign in like 10 minutes. So clearly we were closer than we thought the last time we played.
To beat him
And
up,
then
yeah.
what's that?
I assume it's a beat him up.
Yeah. It's but I know that they've done a lot to try to fix it. So I was kind of like, it was definitely unfinished when it first came out, and so that was contributed to us stopping playing. But I know there'd been a lot of improvements and DLCs, and so I kind of want to give it another shot because it was fun, if they could fix those things. And yeah, it's actually more fun than I remember now. So I think they've made things smoother. So I've started the Future Imperfect DLC with Old Man Hawkeye and a version of Hulk I've never seen. After this, I'm going to go on to the Black Panther DLC, and I'm kind of excited to get back into that, hoping that it keeps my interest because it was a fun game, minus the kind of the bugs and stuff before. So
Cool.
gotta love the multiplayer aspects.
Did you not? Is the thing you sent? Is that not something you got as well? That Atari fucking the 50th anniversary thing?
Oh no, that's coming soon. I don't think that's out yet. That is not out yet. I just saw the announcement for that. I was like, what, Atari collection?
Yeah,
Give it to
I
me.
saw. I've been seeing shit for they're doing. What do you call it? Like a fucking collector's edition, I guess is the best terminology. Versions of some of the original OG carts, and then I mean they're actual 2600 carts. I saw the one for Adventure, and I want it pretty bad. Of course, comes in like
Really?
a nice box, and it's fucking got a bunch of bullshit with it. The cart worked, it's like a functioning 2600 cart that you put in an OG 2600. They're $99 a piece, I think. So it's a lot of money for a 2600 cart that I already own, even no less. But yeah, the Adventure one, just because of the significance of it, is very appealing to me. And that was one that like I did not, I didn't play it as a kid, didn't appreciate it as a kid, and you've heard so much about it. First Easter egg, yada yada. First role playing game, essentially. All
Mhm.
this, the formative nature of it, the how significant it was historically. That I finally fucking approached it, read the manual, and approached it as an adult, however long ago it was, and like it is pretty damn good, especially for an Atari game. And that I think so. Maybe I feel like I don't know. It's like I feel like a guilt or an indebtedness to it that inclines me more to want to pay for it. But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, I can stave it off.
That's fair. That's fair. I would just love if that comes out. What we're talking about is this Atari 50. So apparently, like, there's 100 classic Atari games coming to Xbox in November, and so I'm super pumped about that. The only thing that would make that better is if like I can get an Atari controller, like classic controller that I can use with the
that
Xbox.
has to
Then I'm
that has to be that
oh
has to be possible. If
dude,
if
who do I have
if
to
not
talk
like an officially licensed, you have to be able to get a knockoff or some shit like that. But,
because
yeah.
that's the only thing, dude. That's the only
Well, that's
thing
like
that
my immediate response to it was like, if you need another testament that the Atari VCS is failing miserably, that they're going to license this thing onto Xbox. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that, but it
yeah,
probably does. And I see them pitching the fuck out of that too. I just I guess follow the Atari fucking Insta, and they have all these. We've talked about the new, the newer. I made a joke about what Centipede or whatever, some game that like I haven't seen a new one. You're like, oh, there's fucking new one right here, 3000 or whatever the fuck it is. And they have that
yeah,
for all of them. Like I've been seeing pictures of the Yar's Revenge reboot or remaster or whatever, and it's like it's like it has that same
yeah,
thing. I saw it mentioned as a specific feature. It has that same thing as the Wonder Boy 3 remaster, where you can
mhm.
instantaneously switch between the original version and
Love
the
that.
new one,
Love that
whenever you
option.
want.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely cool, and that's in there. And I mean the visual of the Yar's Revenge specifically, like fucking looks beautiful. The new one, I'm sure it's the same fucking
I'm
vibe
in.
control wise. But yeah, I would love to play them. But yeah, there's just no chance. I just can't even begin. There's no way I'm buying an Atari VCS. I'm not gonna do it. I love
No.
the way it looks. I even love the remote controllers. I love the aesthetic of it to no end. They did a fantastic job with that. But I'm not paying you $300 to put another brick in my fucking on my console that
Yeah.
only does that stuff. It's
Nope.
just not, unfortunately, not enough value there. It's just not.
No
Bummer.
chance. No chance.
Anything else?
Nah, that's pretty much it, man. I re-downloaded Destiny 2 because I really want to get back into that. It was so much fun. Like I own the game. I just space. I need space. So I re-downloaded that, but I haven't really got back into it yet. But I'm planning to because that game was fun in the past. I need some more co-op battle action. Is what I need. Something a little different.
Halo's off the fucking fell off the wagon or on the
Well, I
wagon or
mean,
what's
Halo is just PvP. This is like I play Destiny to like do co-op campaigns and stuff. So you know what I mean? Which I know is coming to Halo soon, which will be freaking cool. I can't wait. I'll definitely jump back into that when that happens. But yeah, I need kind of that co-op, like let's go. So another reason I've been playing ESO, I guess I should mention as well. I've been playing through a
Oh,
lot more of
you don't need to
ESO.
mention it, Jay. We know it's like me talking about
Well, yeah,
walkabout. It's like yeah.
that's the ongoing. Like yeah, it's more like
This is my
more of
first
the
day.
more of the
My
same.
first day on your RSS feed. It is not, guys. We know that you're playing those games.
Exactly. So, yeah, but I mean, they came out with a new chapter, so me and Courtney have been playing through the previous ones that we hadn't finished up just to be able to, dive into the new ones. But gotta love it. A lot of new improvements there, and I can't say enough about the game. It just keeps continuing. Like I dropped it multiple times. I've taken multiple months breaks and come back to it, and here I am. It's still fun.
Word. Should still play Outer Wilds. Okay.
I was
Well,
considering downloading that the other day. No joke. I was like, but then I looked at my backlog. I was like, no, it's gotta wait. No.
uh, you gotta have a clean slate. You gotta be able to immerse yourself. Don't half-ass it. That was my mistake the first time. Although there was something about I don't know. That's I just watched this video the other day that the people who appreciate it's just like same as me, like fucking on the podcast crying about it. It's like it's just so beautiful and so it's just so I don't know, man. I don't even have the adjective. It's just so much. And I was watching this video the other day, the Lore Explorer, and he's I don't know if it's just Outer Wilds, but he has a lot of Outer Wilds videos. And he goes in and he hypothesizes about like really deep analysis concepts that like go beyond just maybe what you surface would take from the game or whatever. It's just he goes deep. And there was one he had the other day about how let's see if I can do this without spoiling anything. But like he was basically saying that like every there's no way to go through that game in its entirety really played the way it's supposed to without a guide or anything. If you like play it and experience the way incrementally that you're supposed to and you learn your way to the end, there's no way for two experiences to be the same. It's just there's just too much. There's too many variables. So he was saying how because the way it works and it's that time loop thing, he's like he was trying to rationalize the idea that everyone who's ever played the game in real life,
Mhm.
their experience is part of the actual because of the multiverse concept of the time loop and every single sequence of events even in our real world happening in that world. It's fucking wild. It was a wild concept, but
What?
it was just so it was so it was just so it was such a deep thought experiment that
Mhm.
just the fact that the game can initiate that in someone and do it and it be grounded enough of an idea that I'm not the only one who watched that video. It's got like fucking 300,000 views or something. So like the idea that it could be in that the idea an idea that off the fucking rails and deep could be not only conceived by someone and like thoughtfully explained,
Mm.
but also be enjoyed and consumed by a semi-mass audience that has also played the game, probably most of them anyways. And it's just a wild ass idea, and there's just so much going on and so fucking deep that like yeah, you have to fucking like you gotta really and well, what I was getting at there was how I put it down and picked it back up at a later date. So like that's like I almost was gonna say that I kind of regretted doing that, and like it was because I didn't give it enough of a I
Mm.
just didn't wrap my mind around it and give it enough the first time. But it kind of made for the second revisit. It made for a unique experience, basically, that I clearly wouldn't have had the way I did if that had not existed, you know? So there was like this period in the middle of the game or wherever I was at in the game that like I had to kind of relearn everything, and like it changed the way obviously I would have experienced it if I would have just stuck with it and like didn't have that regression essentially, you know? So
How long did
it,
it take you to complete the game?
total, fuck, man. With the, I mean, I don't have any
Did you know?
fucking clue.
Ah.
I would guess I probably put that first time somewhere between 10 and 15 hours into it the first time.
Oh, okay.
And the second, well, that I'm saying that was the first go round. And then the second time, probably more like another 30, 40-ish, and then the
Oh, okay.
DLC another 20. So, but and you know, because I was like hardcore not looking shit up. Like I'm not doing it. I'm not ruining this. So, you know, there was nothing that I didn't have to just figure out. I think there were a couple things I looked up that were like it was I could, again, like we've talked about with Shadowgate, like a functional problem that I was like,
Yeah.
I don't understand something, just the UI, you know.
Yeah.
So there were a couple things I looked up like that, but as far as like puzzles or like trying to find something, like I wasn't looking anything up. So, you know.
Okay. So I could conceivably get it done in a week off if I if this
Yeah,
is something
yeah,
sounds
sure, yeah.
fun.
If you really dove in, for sure,
If I
for
was
sure.
really
I think
focused.
so. Yeah, 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 I think so. Uh, Anyhow, that's not what I was playing, although I regret that now that I'm saying it. The first thing I want to talk about is I started fishing again. And it was a while ago that it came out, but they had the US, because originally the real VR fishing is what I'm talking about, by the way. I guess I should specify that. But the they had the original game, or the base game is in Korea. Is in South Korea. So all the locations are there. And a while ago, they had released a US West DLC. That's all the western half of the United States locations. And I hadn't downloaded it, and for some reason or another, picked it back up and was like, I'll just fucking get it. You know, I think I don't know if I saw something in the notes that incentivized. I can't recall, but I downloaded. It's another $10 I downloaded and gave me some new locations. And obviously, it's just there's something about clearly just having a familiarity that makes it a little more interesting. So I got that, and it's like I was reminded, like, the physics, that game, it's just so beautiful, and the physics are so fucking good with fishing. And I haven't been since I was a kid, so like I don't have any basis by which to make that to form that opinion, really, a real life comparison. But like it just feels so good and right. So even if it's not spot on with how actual fishing is, it's well done either way. So, and yeah, it looks fucking great. And they've introduced, which, right, like that's kind of why I stopped playing, because they introduced this bait and bobber fishing aspect of it, and it's just more complicated. Like you have, like,
Ah,
instead of just lures, you now have live baits. And I thought that I didn't like, with the bobber fishing, you don't, like, with the lure fishing, there's kind of a little more, like, you kind of control the lure and make it do shit, to, at least in your mind, maybe it's psychosomatic, but be more appealing to the fish. So like that was kind of appealing to me at first. When they took that away, or not took it away, but when using that aspect of it took that out of the game, I thought I didn't like that at first. But what I didn't realize was there's a lot more intricacy to the fish, and they have behaviors that are in the, like, fish catching log that you can exploit or appeal to more specifically with the bobber fishing. So there's three
mm,
different depths that the fish operate at. So you like, before you cast it, you can set your depth of bait from the surface, from the bobber. So that's like allows you to target a specific fish a little more, and
mm,
then obviously the actual different baits. So like going in and using the fish log and targeting the ones that I have not caught yet, obviously strokes that little collectathon thing that you can get from fucking games. And that is obviously highly appealing. You can take the fish, you can keep them in your fish tank in your fucking cabin. So like, catching specific fish, really cool looking ones, yada yada yada, you actually get to look at them in your tank, which is very appealing. So like opening that up to me has made it a great deal more appealing too. And then they're adding, so there's like 20 locations ish, I think, for the base DLC, and then they're adding every month or so. They're adding two more. to this DLC. So they're adding more US West locations. So, again, you're just like getting fed more stuff. They're servicing it. They're constantly updating it. They're constantly fucking adding shit. There's like a reward mechanic where if you log in that you get, gear for your fucking dude. And like, it's just, it's very well curated, I guess. And they're, if you want to get into the online aspect of it, they have seasons and they fucking, you compete against the others, you can win shit and yada yada yada. So there's, it's very well curated, the community and the ongoing experience. So it's pretty fucking cool. And it's just, I mean, I don't engage that obviously, but it's just a fun, relaxing thing that Amy and I can jump into and do for as little as like 15, 30 minutes at the end of the night before she fucking falls asleep with her headset on, like, so it's just, I think it would be a really great way to hang out with someone who's far away, like we're always talking about how the VR hangout aspect and like,
yeah.
Is a really cool thing. Demeo obviously has that, but a lot of these games have this social element to them. And this one's great because it's like, you can do public rooms too, where you just with random fuckers, but you can do a private room and get a few people together or just one, like I would love to get Jab's fucking cunty ass into it. And I think it would be a cool way to just hang out together. But you can see the other person fishing. You can see them fighting with the fish. You can see with them luring it in. Like I have a video, like and you have an in-camera or in-game phone that you can take pictures with too. So like I took what was like when Amy was catching her very first shark and she was all fucking, frazzled and shit because it's hard to catch the sharks. And like, I'm taking in-game photos of that as it's happening, as it's coming out of the water into her boat. Like it's just a really cool social experience that I think would be really enjoyable with the group of people that you would want to hang out with. And it's like it's the perfect balance of like, nothing happens. You can bullshit, and then, oh shit, something crazy's happening, that's exciting, with the fucking sharks or just catching anything, whatever. So I know you hate fishing, dude, but I'm telling you, man, I think you'd get into it if you started doing it.
I was gonna say it sounds like something that would be absolutely amazing if you like fishing. I mean, that sounds great.
That's the thing, though. I don't have. I haven't fished since I was like 10. I don't have like some. I clearly don't like fishing enough to do it. I think about it idealistically as something I would like to do again, but it's like surfing. Like I'd have to go buy the board, and then like I don't know. It's just fucking. Then where do I keep the board? I don't fucking know. It's a pain in the ass to actually engage. But this digital version of it is like a pretty fucking good, and like it's all the best parts without the nasty shit on your hands and having to push it on hooks and like take the fish off the fucking hook. And what do you do with the fish if you either let it go and then the poor bastard's got a ripped mouth for the rest of its life, or you fucking gotta cut it up and eat it, which I like fish, but I don't want to cut it up and eat it. Like I don't want to do anything. So like, it's it's all the good shit, none of the bad shit. It's great.
That's awesome.
Same with surfing. Like if there was a VR surf game, like I wouldn't have to almost get eaten by sharks in my mind to engage it, and that'd be great. It's the best parts, not the shitty ones. So that's what VR is fantastic. So the new demeo campaign dropped on the 16th, and you still haven't played it, right? Oh my god, dude!
Still have not played it, man.
Oh, you bet your sweet ass I was all over that. So the night before it dropped, I was so excited that I got tuned up by doing a full boss rush of all three of the pre-existing campaigns: the Elven Queen, the Rat King, and Mother Sign, the Root Lord. And I didn't set out to do it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm good, this is my plan, I just like I was like, I definitely want to play and do a thing the night before just to fucking, I don't know, I'm excited. So I drop in, I'm doing random quick plays, and the first one I do drops me into the middle of the boss battle against Rat King. So like all the way at the end, and he like half his life is gone. So like really easy to knock that one out. And then I come out of that, and the next random one I do drops me into a Black Sarcophagus run that's halfway through, and that's such a cake thing that I burned right through it. So I finished the first two, and I'm like, I mean, I gotta
do the next one.
Yeah, I gotta do the hat trick, So then, I sat and I was up late as fuck that night doing a full Root Lord run through the forest. So like, played all fucking. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot for sure. Especially considering I maxed it on experience at that point, so there's no numerical benefit to it. It's just literally to say I hat tricked it, in one night. So
Nice.
Anyways, the new campaign is fucking amazing. It's a desert setting. It's called The Curse of the Serpent Lord. There's a new character in it, the Warlock, that's fucking badass. She's like,
What?
she's got spells and shit, but she's also got a cat side, like a kind of a
Like a
lion or
familiar?
panther-esque. Yeah, I think it is. It is. Yeah, no, I shouldn't say I think it is. It is definitely a no, what do you call it? Not mythical, but ethereal cat. So yeah, she can like mark things. The cat attacks it. The cat acts autonomously too on its own and attacks things. So she's pretty. I mean, I almost feel like she's like a little OP kind of. There's a few things about the new
Ooh.
that I think are going to get rebalanced. There's new cards that stack. There's a vitality card that adds 3 HP, max HP, I mean. So like, and you can,
Oh.
I don't even know if it stops there, but I've stacked as many as 3 and got up to 19 HP, which is like, you're fucking,
What?
yeah,
You're
you're
like a
invincible.
tank.
Yeah, you're invincible at 19 HP. So like, I think that's too OP. I think that's got to rebalance and not be stackable or something. And yeah, there's new magic power cards. So instead of just the
Yes.
strength, there's like specifically, and maybe strength doesn't. I haven't fence tested that enough to know. Maybe strength no longer affects magic power, but yes, there's a magic power specifically card that only adds to magic damage, and there's some other ones too. I can't think off the top of my
Nice.
head, but there's that, and yeah, there's a handful of other new cards that like kind of break the earlier thing because they this happened with the forest one too. The couple of new cards for that also started appearing. Like the vortex lamps I think were new in that, and that stuff is now was then available in the first 2 campaigns, the Rat King and the Black Sarcophagus. And those dungeons aren't built for this stuff. They're like already the enemies, I don't know, it's just not like, they're very like the water card that's for the desert, like that. It's a 3 HP bonus that gives you life, and it also is to wash away this rage shit that is kind of like a poison that's on the ground in a lot of places and grows out of these crystals that some of the enemies can use to their advantage. So it's like a very well balanced mechanic in the desert,
Mhm.
but it's kind of a useless card in the rest of the game. So why even have it?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
interesting.
So it's I think that is something that also should rebalance, that some of these like very highly specific new introductions for the new campaigns should be scrubbed from the ones where they're not meant to be. You know what I mean? So that's one thing to maybe work out as a kink wise. But yeah, the new character's fucking awesome, and fun little fucking story. I saw my boys on the Rough Talk VR posting some swag that Resolution Games had sent them a book for a new campaign it's just like the fucking in-game D&D module style books. So I was so goddamn envious that I slid into the DMs of Revolution and coerced them. I was texting you guys about this, and Amber Moak in particular, thanks Amber, into sending me that bad boy in the mail. So it came earlier this week, and it is the same day as my Ninja Bros versus Chaos T-shirt, actually. So it was a great mail day, but fucking sweet ass book. And in the back of it, even there's a bunch of cool shit in there, artwork, and it goes into some of the monsters and shit. And yeah, I didn't mention that either. There's some cool ass new fucking monsters. That one that's called the Rift Servant, I think it is. It teleports characters around, both bad and good, and it does it a fucking lot. So it's like the Mystics, but this thing is also fucking a tank, attack wise. So it's the best of
Nice.
both worlds from the enemy perspective. But the figurine for it is fucking awesome looking, like really fucking cool. There's a lot of cool looking shit. What is it? The Reptile Brute 2 I posted on our socials is fucking like, it's this huge like mutant fucking dragon kind of thing, and it's got like swords and arrows sticking out of its back and shit, and its teeth are all fucked up. Like it looks awesome, like really really cool. So yeah, there's a lot of new enemies and shit, and they cover that in there. But on the last page of the book, it teases the setting for the next campaign that's coming later in the year, which I didn't even know that specifically, that there's
What?
a campaign due out later this year. But the exact verbiage is: the band of intrepid adventurers take a trip into a town for the very first time. So it'll be a village setting, and that's pretty fucking dope. That I can't wait for. Like it didn't even
Nice.
occur to me that
Okay.
like, I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, oh, yeah, I guess not. There's not like just like an urban, map yet. So the desert one is kind of, it's the lore around it is it's this town in the desert that was formed originally as like a haven in a fucked up part of the desert, and then the people there took allegiance to some religious figure that ended up manipulating them and turning them evil, and it became kind of this, bad place because of it, So pretty
I
fucking
like it.
fun. Yep.
I
And
like
they
the
had,
variation. I like that there's a new. I didn't even know there was another campaign coming, so that actually makes me more excited.
oh dude,
It's pretty
so
cool.
good. Yeah, we gotta jump in and play. It's fucking great. I actually had a buddy, one of my college buddies, friends of the went to high school with the Danny Dave crew, from next door,
Yeah.
the Brian Hoffman. He had been like lurking on Twitter, seeing me posting shit about it and stuff, and interacting with Demeo, and he plays D&D, I guess. So he'd been lurking on it for a while, and like asked me like, should I get it? Should I get it? I'm like, yeah, you should fucking get it, fucking for sure. And like he sometime like early last week or something, he sends me a picture of him at a store at the display, and he's like, $400, is it worth it? I'm like, I think you can get for 300 online. Like, you know, I don't look around before you buy it. And I guess he didn't buy it. And I fucking he said something to me about it again. I just sent him the link on Amazon for the $300 version for the 128 gigabyte headset, and he's like, he sends me the confirmation a second later. Like, fucking arriving at between 4 and 8 a.m. the next morning. I'm like, gonna be fucking up at 4 a.m. looking out your fucking window for the fucking Amazon guy.
Hopefully
So
it's
yeah,
a Saturday. Hopefully it's a Saturday.
it was definitely a fucking weekday, definitely a Tuesday or something. Like at court in the morning, like fucking up. So yeah, so he fucking got it. We played a thing last week, and he had never played it. Like he like skirmished like for like one board or so, one floor of a dungeon before then we got in. Like total tutorial experience. But actually, two other young players, like pretty inexperienced players. So I'm like fucking running a goddamn clinic on a black sarcophagus run. Took us like fucking an hour and a half to do the first level because we're like incrementally fucking teaching three people, but. It's such a cool. I've like I said before how fucking cool it is. Kind of the sharing of ideas that game has and curates is really fucking cool. They added 4 more levels and accompanying aesthetic upgrades, 2 new figurine bases, a new set of gloves, and something else I can't recall, like an archer costume, I want to say maybe. But the level 62 base is fucking dope. It's called the Occult Boneyard is the name. It's a skeleton half sticking up out of the ground below your feet. Fits right in with my go-to assassin build, as you might imagine. The new gloves at 63 are not cooler than the skeleton hands, but they are. I've seen them. People are using them, so they must be kind of appealing. And I've actually yet to quite hit 64, Jay, if you can fucking believe that. Despite being up late last night doing my first successful Rat King run, full run in a long time. But the
Get your
second level,
grind on. Get your
yeah,
grind on. Keep going.
exactly. Yeah, I'm super close to it though. I want to see what it is. It can't be cooler than that boneyard thing. The boneyard is so cool, especially for the assassin build. But shall see. I like that they're still knocking out new things for that. 64 is weird that they're. I don't know. I mean, I guess it takes time to build the assets and whatever, but I feel like it's something that should be like a focus. That is like continually incentivizing players to stick with it. So that's it for Demio. That's it for Demio talk today. I did have a little bit of walkabout talk that we jumped into a sesh a few weekends back, and in talking through you designing your avatar, I found out that I could make new characters that are multiple characters on my account, and then you can switch between them at will in the clubhouse. And so I designed that Bill's Mafia Maniac that you saw there. And then I realized that a new character has a completely clean slate on everything in the game. Like basically like you just downloaded. So you haven't found any balls, you haven't found any putters, you don't have any course records, nothing at all. So yeah, basically been ball hunting nonstop. Ball hunting and putter hunting nonstop for the last week, and it has been fucking glorious. Like it's been long enough that I remember a lot of them, of course, but some of them I don't recall where shit is. So like, I'm like the Bogies Bonanza putter thing. Like I spent a while on it fucking last night or a day or two ago because I could not remember where this fucking clue was. Like, getting the whole feeling again. That was really good. Happy as a pig and shit. And then the last thing, yes, the new thing to talk about is Green Hell VR, which is what's behind me right now. It is survival in a jungle, and it is fucking intense, man. Like really, really fucking intense. It's very reminiscent of The Forest, and I'm assuming you never played that, right? As a survival game.
No, that does not sound.
Yeah,
That does not ring a bell.
I played it on PS4. I'm sure it was on. I mean, I know it was on Xbox also, but it's also a survival game, of course, and you're in a plane crash on a remote island, and the island is inhabited by natives that are like pretty fucking hostile, and you're trying to find your kid the whole time, and really,
Mm.
really great game, and the like the building mechanics in that were fucking awesome. You could build these cool forts and like catapults, and like you got like kind of too far in all honesty, and the story was dog shit, and like the
Ah.
mechanics in it were not good, but it was a really appealing idea and really fun to play for quite a while until again like this I soured on the story, and like the started to see the it's happened in this a little bit too with these games that are kind of these wide open things like this, especially with a lot of the building mechanics. You start to kind of see the matrix with it a little bit, and it becomes
Mm.
the discovery goes away. Like the cool part about these games is like discovering how to survive in this environment is really appealing. But once you, which this is where Subnautica really excelled, is that never went away. You never lost the learning and the fucking whatever you never like saw the game. It was always an immersive experience of learning and fear and whatever. This game and the Forest both had it where you started to like, oh, I just need to do ABC and then I'm fine.
Ah.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? You know what I mean? You learn how just kind of what the beats are to hit, and the discovery of it goes away. There's just not enough nuance, I guess, or variance to like the thing I was thinking about today. Like you in this one you have to. There's all these intricate homeostasis systems that are way better than the Force in that regard. Your diet needs to be well rounded. Like you have proteins, fats, carbs, and water, obviously most notably. So there's a bunch of nuance where you're like, you got to eat a bunch. You got to have fruit to keep your carbs up. You got to have fats to keep your, or you got to have, like not just like you can kill a rattlesnake and you can get meat from that, but rattlesnake meat is too lean. It doesn't have enough fats. So
Mm.
you got to kill things if you're going to use meat to satisfy your fats problem. You can also do coconuts. Coconut meat has fats in it, but yeah, you got to eat the right things to keep those certain things up. And like, you can eat grubs to and spiders and shit and scorpions to keep your protein up, but that shit is a drag on your sanity, which is another metric that needs to be minded. If you eat fucked up shit, it hurts your mental state, So
That's
there's
funny.
that, and then there's a bunch of plants and fungi that have positive and negative impacts. You can get food poisoning, and there's certain things you can do to counteract that, fungi wise and stuff. You can have like if you don't wash your hands and you eat shit, if you go too long without washing your hands and you eat shit, you can get bacteria from that and get food poisoning. So there's just all these really intricate systems that are focused on the idea of surviving all this bullshit you'd have to deal with if you were stuck in the fucking jungle without,
Right.
you know, a survival kit. So it's really fucking interesting in that regard. And you don't know what plants are until you try them. So there's an incentive to experiment and put yourself at risk, which is kind of fucking cool. And then you do have a log, so you don't have to memorize all the shit. And also, even within your like backpack, you can like once you know what something does, it has little icons, and you don't have to fucking memorize that shit. So that's cool. That doesn't put too much on your plate in that regard, but there is a discovery thing to it. And then fatigue is a problem. You got to sleep. You can get physical wounds. And this is what I was getting at a moment ago. Like, you gotta scale, you gotta cross these fallen logs and stuff to get across things. And like it's too it's like the controls are too good, kind of, like if you were paying attention, you can flawlessly walk across every log in the game. And like that's kind of bullshit. Like there should be more slipping and stuff. Like I fell for the last night for the first time, and I've been playing, I don't know, probably 15, 20 hours now. And for the
Wow.
first time I fell and got a wound, and like, there's a little uh like a leaf thing you got to do when you get a surface wound like that to wrap it up, and then
Right.
it heals over time on its own. And there's like you have some fucking like movement debuffs that happen while that's going on. So it's cool how it executes it, but you don't, like I said, if you were looking down and paying attention, and that was the thing. Like I was like not paying attention. I was like kind of which it's cool that this could even happen. Like I was going up a log and I'm like, wait a minute, there's a fucking cave over there that I haven't been in. And I'm like kind of looking at that a little bit as I'm going up and like basically got distracted and fell off the fucking log, and fucked up my fucking, it should have been my leg. That's the one shitty thing. For the Oculus version specifically, the Oculus version does not have, like, you can see your arms, and like there's leeches, for example, in the game. You constantly fucking deal with leeches, so you gotta like physically pull them off your fucking arms when you see them. But to see them, you gotta remember to look at your arms and check, so like, and they have a negative sanity impact and a negative health impact if you're not paying attention, so you're constantly checking your fucking arms. And the other VR versions of it, the PC VR version has legs also, and you got to check your legs for the same problems, and they can also get hurt. So if you fall, your leg can get hurt, and then you got to bandage your leg up, But there's no legs in the Oculus version, and like I didn't know that. So like I was playing the first 10 hours of the game, and I'm like hitting every button combination, like because I see the videos in the trailers and stuff of the legs, and I'm like, where the fuck? How do I check the fucking legs? And I keep seeing, and I think it's fucked up, and I think they might even still be wrong. But I was asking because I got wind of this game from the Rough Talk guys, and the fucking, I posted that 8-minute video of the first me just getting into it. And they're like mentioning something, and I asked them like, "How the fuck do you check your legs?" And like, "Oh, they don't. That's not in this version." I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like I've been trying, like, because it says like when you wake up from, like, you'll periodically see the little notification like leeches. Like when you wake up from some sleep, if you slept with leeches on, you get a little fucking negative thing from sanity thing from it. And I'm fucking pretty sure that I have went to bed, like I cleaned all the leeches off, go to sleep, and then wake up and get the notification. So like I think my legs are there still, kind of, and I just don't know how to access them. And I can't fucking find anything about it, even saying that they just aren't there on the web. I can't find any explanation of how to check your legs or that they're not there for the Oculus version. I need to
That's
just
so odd that they would have two different that would operate differently like that.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, I think, it's probably obviously the Quest is a mobile platform. It's not up to speed with PC VR headsets as far as the technical aspects go. So I'm sure it has something to do with that. And that was probably why they made the decision. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I was like, just like literally standing in my living room, like yelling about shit, like pissed off that I can't figure out how to check my leg for leeches. It's fucking hilarious. So yeah, so there's that, and then the crafting is fucking huge. You're trying to discover and make new things that improve your quality of life, of course. So the story is your girl, like you and your girl are scientists that go into the forest or go to this jungle with the intent of, and you're like deployed by someone who has money or some foundation or something, so you have like a proper jungle fucking setup thing to go to the place, a tent and shit. So you and your girl go, and she is the one that's more savvy with native relations or something. Like your intent is to meet and make contact with these natives that are living in the jungle, these aboriginals that are, I forget the reason for it, and she disappears. Like she goes out to meet them on her own without telling you the one morning because she thinks she doesn't want you to go because she thinks you'll be a fucking problem. So she goes out on her own and then she disappears. And so you're like frantically trying to find her. That's what gets you off in the thing. And then you find the place that maybe she could be at, but you get chased away and you end up getting hurt in the chase. So you like, you run, you wake up, you fall into a fucking thing, you wake up from getting knocked out, and you don't know where the fuck you're at. You don't have any of your shit, and you don't know where your girl is. You got your radio though, so you can communicate with her, and that's how you kind of get through the story is these radio communications with her, and the you're trying to like first, it's kind of like Subnautica. You're like, got to figure out how to eat, and then I got to build a camp, and then I got to fucking like be able to sleep, and like yada yada yada. So you're like trying to just initially figure out these things and the building mechanics, and they do a really good job with the VR and the building. Like you gotta like to make fire, you gotta bang fucking a rock and a flint. You gotta like take the sticks, build the thing, and then like bang the shit together to fucking spark the thing on the dry leaves to get the fire going. And like when you're building a little lean-to shelter, you gotta like get one of the long logs. You gotta take a tool that you've built and you gotta hammer the fucking thing in, and then you gotta do the other one and like you make the little cross, and then you gotta take the rope vines you pull off these trees and you got to like actually physically wrap them around the fucking thing. And like I said, like I mentioned, when you're wrapping your arm up from a wound, you actually got to do the wrapping motion. And so it does a really good job of embracing the fact that you have this freewheeling fucking control, for a lot of the the fishing, like fishing with spears and shit. I'm like standing in the river, like, God, fucking, like, you're like missing the fish, and like there's a bow and arrow, and you got to shoot shit, and like it's all done pretty fucking well. It glitches out, it gets a little wonky every now and again, but relatively speaking, I think they did a good job with that. And like, like Amy fucking thinks it's hilarious. I'm standing in the fucking living room, and like I'm like, the other day she's like, what the fuck are you doing in that game right now? And I'm like, and it occurs to me like what my body looks like while I'm doing this. Like I'm like, I gotta like take my coconut shell over to the river, fill it up with water. And I hit my broken coconut shell, and then go over to the fire to boil it in the fire. So I gotta like set it down in the fire, and like I stand there and just look at it and wait for it to boil, and then I pick it up and hold it to my face to fucking drink it. Like it must look fucking hilarious, in the real world. But yeah, again, just the mechanics. It's really well done in that regard, and yeah, I mean it's like easily the most interesting, engaging first person VR experience I've had. The except for maybe the brief Subnautica opportunity I had. So, pretty fucking good, especially for an Oculus offering. And it far from perfect. There's like I mentioned, agitated with the controls sometimes. The story is fucking horrible. The relationship you're living out with your girlfriend over that radio is like nails on a fucking chalkboard, dude. She is fucking horrible. I hate every time I got to talk to her. I just cannot click with the conversation. It's so bad. She's like, I don't know, man. I think she's, I'm not knowing the game, so I guess this isn't spoilery. Because I don't know if it comes to fruition, but like I feel like she's gonna turn on me or something. I feel like she's not like steering me into bad shit, but like I don't know. Everything she says is just kind of like, I don't know. It sucks. She sucks. She's terrible, man. She sucks. Like I just feel bad about everything she says. It sucks. It's like just like she's just, I don't know. It's like this like empty support. It's like this empty supportive stuff. And she just keeps saying, like, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. Like, like, what do you mean you're fine? Like, you're fucking what do you mean you're fine? Like my whole thing is trying to find you. Like, why won't you just tell me where you're at? Or like, give me some clues, So it's like, I feel like she's fucking just going to deceive me in some way, shape, or form. Or she's being forced to deceive me in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure.
I was about to say, yeah, what if somebody else is holding it? Like, she's not actually using it,
Right. Yeah. So that's possible. Who knows? I mean, it's definitely her. You can hear her talking. It's her.
No, I mean, like, if somebody's basically like you say the wrong thing and you're,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's possible. Who knows? And like, yeah, there was another thing too. Like, at one point, his radio dies. It says it. He's like, "Oh, the battery's dead. Fuck." And you're like, there's a lot of that, just like over expositional fucking talking, of course, just to whatever handhold with you. And then like, I don't know, fucking however long later, he's a radio thing comes in from her and he's talking to her and he's like, "Oh, I just had to charge the batteries." It's like, charge the batteries where? Where the fuck did you charge the batteries? What do you mean you charge the batteries? I don't know. I guess I did eventually rationalize that maybe it has the solar thing or something on it. I don't know. But yeah, when it died, then he's like, "I charged the batteries." I'm like, "I didn't charge the batteries. Where the fuck did you charge the batteries? Where's the outlet, dude? What bro? What are we worried about surviving for if you have fucking charging capabilities? What the fuck, Like, yeah.
Oh, that's
really
great.
plot point there, but it's also a little overly linear too. Like especially for being in a jungle, like the hand holding can be suffocating at times. You're just like, I can just tell where you're just dragging me down the path to the next thing. Like I can feel that. I hate in fucking games when they do that. So that's But the play mechanics are so fucking great that you can weather those negatives without any problem. I think I recommend it for sure. So you were talking about like wanting some sort of story based game. Like this is in a VR arena like this, I think you would definitely dig it. I mean, it's actiony enough that I think you would dig the fuck out of it for sure.